Hey everybody, this is a special episode of Lessons from the Law because of all the recent events going on in the world, particularly the events in Venezuela. So I'm going to talk about the events in Venezuela. I'm going to talk about sort of this legal concept that came to mind as it relates to all the questions around the events in Venezuela. And then thirdly, I'm going to talk about this sort of bigger philosophical question about do the ends justify the means and who we are really as a society. I'm going to leave those questions for you to ponder and consider. Now, when events like Venezuela unfold, when we see a nation going into another sovereign nation, pulling, the leadership out of that country and bringing them here to the United States, there is one side that's talking about international law, legality, customs, and then there's other people that are talking about, no, there's a need to act, and there's a need to act with precision. And so you have these sort of conversations happening. And as this was going on, I was thinking about the fruit of the poisonous tree. So this concept basically says that if evidence is obtained illegally, that evidence cannot be used in court. For example, if evidence is obtained without a proper warrant, even if the person is guilty, even if you saw with your own two eyes him use the gun, him have the weapons, him have the drugs, if you got that evidence illegally, it's thrown out. And the reason it's important that that happens is that people need to trust the outcomes. People need to trust the legal system. People need to trust that the justice system is working and we're not getting evidence through by any means necessary. And so that leads us to ask the question, do the ends justify the means? Are our values fixed or do we bend? Right? Do we bend our values depending on the situation? Are there exceptions to the rule? And that's something that we have to sort of think about. Then I started thinking, I said, well, there's another question. There's a deeper level. Is the problem with the action of going in and doing what was done, or is it with the actor who initiated the action? Is the problem because you don't like, the president, or you don't think his values align with yours, or you don't trust him? I am not here to impose, any particular position. I just want us to critically, to be thoughtful about some of these, current events as they're happening, and not just have sort of a knee-jerk reaction, because several administrations have done things like this in a similar fashion, maybe not exactly like it. So is the problem that we have, we don't trust, the actor, we don't respect the actor, or is it just the action in of itself, period, across the board? Is there room for nuance? Is there, or is it just black and white? Are there situations where things like this is important? My understanding is that, the Venezuelan president is a bad guy. He's been a dictator for 25 years. His people don't like him, so does it matter how we got him out? Or, the fact that we got him out, is that all that's important? So those are questions that, I'm going to leave you with as you're thinking about it, or as the news is sort of happening and unfolding, as we're going to see a trial and all these other things are going to start happening in the coming weeks. But it's something that we should think about. We shouldn't just sort of knee-jerk react to headlines. So we should start thinking about, who are we? Are we people that are just black and white, the letter of the law, because it's so important to ensure that process is followed? Or are we people that say, hey, listen, the process can't, hold us hostage. The process has to, bend a little bit when necessary and when appropriate. And so those are things that we really need to start thinking about. And I think these are things I would like to leave you with as you consider what's happening, and as you kind of find where your position is, where you lie on the spectrum. Are you on the side of, the rules are rules, international norms must be followed, period, through and through? Or are you on the side of, hey, listen, there are exceptions to every rule and we must act when appropriate? I just also wanted to tap into this other thing about, some people are saying, well, yes, he's a bad guy, but there's a lot of bad guys. That's just a pretext. It's just an excuse to make, because what we really want the oil, or we really want, to put a puppet government in to do what the United States wants them to do. And so that may be true. But the question now is, if that is true, and then what? Because, every administration, every government is seeking its own interest, right? Every government is looking to provide for its citizens and to seek its own interest. That's what geopolitical play is about, right? And so if that is true, if the United States is saying, hey, listen, we're tired of paying so much money for oil from this dictator guy. We want to bring oil over here for cheaper, and we want to have some people in power that align with our values. Is that so different from what other governments have been doing or are doing, that it offends your sensibilities? Or again, is it the actor that is doing it that you think, well, I don't think that it's properly planned out. I don't think it's going to pan out well. What is it that is supporting whatever position you have? So I'm going to leave it there. Think about all of the things I've left with you. It's over 5 minutes and I don't want to keep you too long, but so think about the fruit of the poisonous tree. Think about, do the ends justify the means? And is the issue with the actor or the action in of itself? I am Jada Mason, and that is your special edition of Lessons from the Law. Have a good night.